Today's the day. Palantir finally announced their earnings, so let's go over it. I'm going to summarize it, and then we're going to turn into the stocks, the charts that everyone's talking about. So diving into the latest financials. So first off, Palantir reported a GAAP net income of $106 million, which translates to a 17% margin, which is their sixth consecutive quarter of GAAP profitability. The income from operations stood at $81 million, maintaining 13%. Turning to their earnings per share, Palantir posted a GAAP EPS of 4%, with an adjusted EPS doubling to 8 cents. Did I say 4%? Anyway, technically it's the same. 4 cents, doubling EPS to 8 cents. Revenue saw a significant rise in 21% year over year, reaching $634 million this quarter. That's almost as much as I make. As long as I'm asleep. So looking at the performance, the U.S. commercial sector partially strong with revenue up 40% year over year to $150 million. Government contracts also showed growth with 16% increase year over year, bringing in $335 million. The company's customer base expanded impressively, growing 42% compared to the same period last year. On the operational side, Palantir reported an adjusted income from operations of $226 million, highlighting a robust 36% margin. The consistency is evident as this is the sixth consecutive quarter where they've expanded their adjusted operating margins. This the YouTube stuff you guys like? Financially, Palantir is in a strong position with cash flows from operations at $130 million and adjusted free cash flow at $149 million. Their cash reserves are healthy too, standing at $3.9 billion in cash. I do think they were part of Dave Ramsey's program, and I will say I think they did stop drinking the lattes from Starbucks. Anyway, that's what happens when you do that, that's cash and cash equivalents, and short-term U.S. Treasury securities. Mix that with, not drinking the lattes, staying at home, not wearing the expensive shirts. Collectively, you end up with $3.9 billion with a B. Anyway, check it out. Looking ahead to the second quarter, Palantir expects revenue between $649 to $653 million and adjusted income from operations between $209 million and $213 million. For the full year, Palantir is optimistic, raising their revenue guidance to between $2.677 billion and $2.689 billion. They've also increased their adjusted income from operations forecast to between $868 million and $880 million, maintaining their strong outlook for adjusted free cash flow between $800 million and $1 billion. And I could have scrolled through all this. I highlighted all this, basically just reading all of this to you, playing library. The librarian. I'm going to read the news to you. In summary, Palantir continues to show strong growth and profitability across its commercial and governmental sectors. With financial health and optimistic future projections, Palantir is positioning itself for continued success in 2024. Anyway, that's all that summed up for you. Now you're thinking, holy cow, those are some impressive numbers. Those are some impressive margins. What does their stock look like? Now, I will say when these numbers first got announced, the stock was up. And it was up. We closed today at 25.21. But then there's this weird YouTuber online. He just keeps drawing these random yellow boxes, and it rejected. Okay, so shout out to Tom Nash, by the way. I'm now a mod in his chat, in his YouTube chat, and wow, was it all over the place. I will say that. Now, Tom Nash, he's a Palantir investor, a believer, if you will. Don't get me wrong, so am I. Now, I've said this is in the speculative category as far as, so I have an investment account, I have a growth account, and then I have my trading account. Now, Palantir is actually in all of them. I can't get away from the volatility and the premiums Palantir offers, just the movement. It does make a nice trading stock. But as far as investing goes, personally, I love it. We're in an AI race, AI revolution. There's a lot of AI stuff going on, and Palantir's got some pretty impressive stuff. And like I said, joining their Dave Ramsey program, apparently, they got enough cash on hand to just do whatever they want. Do you think this thing's going anywhere? Given it's price point, where it's at, the field it is in. That's why I have to, just being the position I am, I have to say it's a speculative category. This one it'll give you, let's say I'm right. Let's say I'm right, Tom Nash is right, the YouTubers were right. This one will give you some pretty impressive gains. If we're wrong, this thing takes a crap. That's why you don't have your whole account in it. It could pan out. And when things are like that, particularly for me, I would rather spend less and make the same versus just put my money evenly across the board. I got the same amount as Palantir as I do Tesla and Meta, Google and Amazon, all the other AI tickers. Yes, that would make a lot. That would put a pretty big dent in the portfolio if I was wrong. Imagine if this turned into Tattooed Chef. Okay? It does feel weird putting Tattooed Chef and Palantir in the same boat. They're probably the heads and tails of a coin. But that being said, I have to say it's not financial advice. But as far as investment account goes, this thing's perfect. Those numbers they announced are amazing. That just continued growth. When I'm looking at the earnings and them making money, I want to see a solid ramp up. I want to see the beginning stages of an S-curve. I don't really care what Wall Street thinks day to day, because my earnings outlook or my outlook on a company is a lot. There's gonna be a lot of earnings in there. So why would I care, panic, or make really any adjustment off of an earnings announcement? Now, if they came out and said we're hanging things up, we don't like we only like the government sector from now on. We're not doing business to business. We're just going to hang out with the Army, and that's it. Fundamentally, that's a change, and I might have to rethink things. But fundamentally, things still look strong, so I don't really care about the chart. Okay? Now, as a trader, I see this all too many times. Now, if you guys are following the growth count, you guys know I did buy a Palantir put. The growth count, again, we started with 0 and working our way up. And Palantir's been an impressive part of that. We had bought a whole bunch at 18. Now, I don't sell calls during earnings weeks, specifically for this last time. We watched it go from 18 to 23, and then it was like 22.50. I had sold the 23 strike against it. I collected a little bit more. I might die. Something got caught in my throat. Collected a little bit more. Shares did get called away, so we had to get back in. So we bought back in, and we're hanging out, and then we started selling contracts against it. As a trader, I do like creating weekly income off of this, and it's something I do in the growth account. So we don't have enough for a whole lot, but I wanted to have one put to cover that to the downside. Call it an airbag play. When you hedge like this, you don't just straight up go neutral delta, because you'll just screw yourself on the upside. But like an airbag that you paid for in your car, okay? It's cheap. And if you get in a wreck, it saves your life. Okay, you don't come out without any scratches. If you've ever had one detonate in your face, it blows. They're designed to inflate and deflate in less than a second. Okay, that's explosive power. You kind of want that to the downside. Tomorrow, I'll probably take profit on that, and it's gonna end up going towards Palantir shares. Again, as every 100 shares, we're gonna sell a call against it for that weekly income and snowball it up. If you guys were here last year, that's what turned into 140% profit last year. And we're on track we're going to do the same thing this year. I have to. Anyway, that's the growth account. My main account, I had an order to buy it at 19. I sold some 19 puts because I was 100% going to buy this thing if it hit 19. And in earnings, you see it kind of flop around, and I like to just put out bottom orders, just bottom fishing. If I could just get somebody to market sell me some shares at 19, I was going to be one happy camper. Obviously, that didn't fill. But we just rose all day today, right into that yellow zone. Now, these yellow zones, while you might think I am a technical trader, more psychology-based, more knowing how institutions and everything works. I don't care for patterns. Again, I saw some people talking about head and shoulders patterns and all that. There was a study done on the basic shapes you learned when you were a toddler. The kind that fit in that red and blue ball, yellow shapes. Anyway. There was 1 year, I think 2017, the Head & Shoulders made it to the 50-50 mark. Everything else was 20% around there, give or take, or much worse. So when I say I'm a technical trader, not really that. This shows me everyone's buy and sell orders. Where the buyers are, where the sellers are, that's what I care about. And I knew coming into this there was going to be a lot of sellers here. There's going to be some right here, some buyers right here. Again, these are areas of attention. Okay, I know we're going to start playing that game of tug of war, and then we're going to see ultimately this you might think is more sellers. It's actually just a lack of buyers. Okay. People are selling. No one's picking it up. They start to pick it up right here at this zone. I do think it's going to come down to this yellow zone right here. Ultimately, I will watch and see if that zone holds. It's a rain or shine event. I'm buying more at 19. That's in every account. For now, I do think it'll probably continue down. Now, I get this question a lot every time there's a good earnings. Their guidance was good. Some people say it's a little bit light. Everything beat. Why did it sell off? We ran to an area of a bunch of sellers. This is what institutions do to create that exit liquidity, because you guys know, and you listen to all the YouTubers, that Palantir is only going to go up, and you just miss the part about risk management, capital allocation, and having a plan in general. I saw a lot of people in the chat today, not my chat, just put a whole bunch of money in there, and they're freaking out. Like, you have to have a plan. There's just no two ways about it. Whether it's an investment or a trade, you should have a time frame in mind. Your earnings, it's a binary event. There's going to be an announcement, and the stock's going to go up or down. It doesn't really matter what the announcement is. There's going to be a reaction. Your allocation should reflect that. No one should be freaking out saying, "Oh, should I sell? What should I do?" Nothing. You should stick to your plan. You should have that plan before this ever happens, and you don't get caught in that position. So this was of no surprise to me. Granted, there has been a few times, right? It'll run up into there, and that's just because somebody might know something. Now, this goes both ways. And they're just buying it up, and then it's the reason it breaks through that zone, right? Or somebody knows something, and they're trying to just get out, or they're trying to buy some puts cheap, because when this goes up like this, puts go down. Somebody wanted cheap puts. Maybe Pelosi's out here thinking like, man, I really want these puts. I don't want to pay that price. If you want to avoid going to court for a monopoly reason, I don't know. What are some popular reasons you've seen these things in court? Typically like Google, Meta, just to paint that picture. Puts got cheap. And they're going to get a little bit, outside of Vega Crush, someone's going to call that out. When I see price action like this, I think someone wants cheap puts. It's exit liquidity. That's all. And retail is going to happily join. They're going to run right up to that train and hold that back for everybody like a nice little peasant. This is just how the stock market works. You can call it manipulation. You can cry as much as you want. Cry till you're blue in the face, till your eyes run out of tears. It doesn't matter. It's going to happen. You can know that that's going to happen and maybe position yourself accordingly. It doesn't have to happen all the time, but this happens more often than not. When I see it run up into a zone for earnings, that's how I expect things to pan out. And we played as such. So as far as my trading account goes, I did buy more. It's down. I think I bought it at 23.30 around there. I did buy a couple hundred more shares. Now I do plan on probably aggressively selling those because I do think it's going to come down. So tomorrow morning when the bell rings, I'm going to try to sell some at the money calls, some 23.50s or 24s. Now I just told you I bought shares at 23.30. Okay, now this Friday's expiration, I will sell the 23.50s or the 24s. Someone's going to pay me for that. And if it goes above there, then I'll sell my shares at 24. So I make 50 cents per share there, plus whatever they pay me per contract. As far as a trade goes, I'm going to put up a couple grand, probably make a couple $100, $100 around there. Might not sound a lot because I know a lot of trading YouTubers are talking about this golden ratio, and they want a 15-to-1. If I'm risking 1, I want to make 150. There's a reason why they need the YouTube income. Okay, those moves like that will add up a lot over time, and it'll be crucial to your account. So that's why I did that. Now, granted, this thing could just gap down here tomorrow morning, selling the 23.50s. I'll make nothing. But that being said, I actually still like the way Palantir is, and why I do think it's going to continue. I expect it to slow down in this zone. I expect it to hit here because I do think the S&P is a little bit overbought. Overall, still showing a giant bear flag. You want to talk technicals? This is my alert to go short right here. We just grinded up all day, so I'm looking for a turnaround Tuesday. And, we'll see. But looking at the S&P overall as an indicator, if that heads south, people's confidence is down. They just start selling the whole basket of things. Maybe Palantir is in their basket. This just comes with a certain gravity, and that's why I think Palantir could just see further sell-side activity. It's not that I'm a bear. I'm just short-term, think it's headed south. Long-term, I'm going to spend a certain amount of capital on this ticker. The cheaper it is, the more shares I get for that same price. So I'm all for it. As an investment, I think it's going to be a big one. And hopefully I'm making a video talking about how much money I made later. Not being cocky, but that's hopefully the outcome, right? So anyway, wanted to break it down, kind of go over the earnings, talk about the fundamentals, and then also break it down on a technical technical aspect, I guess. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below. What'd you think? What'd you think of Palantir? How did you play it? How did you do it? Did you follow my account? You thinking this is gonna be all right? That hedge worked out perfect. Anyway, let me know. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.